The FaZe Clan drama that's been going on has been pretty crazy. A lot of talk and videos back and forth from OG founders and going against the corporate kind of phase that's been in place now. And now we see FaZe kind of reacting with the stock market stuff because we all know FaZe stock, it hasn't been doing the best, but recently it's kind of had a tick up. And that might be because of this news of FaZe looking to take the company off of the stock market. So they want to go private again. And there's a lot of problems with FaZe as to maybe why they want to try and do that. But we can see their stock reacted pretty good to that, up 30 or 26% today. You know, it's been rallying for the week. It's still under that dollar, and it's been under the dollar for like 32 consecutive trading days now. So they are probably got that notice from the NASDAQ that they're not in compliance, and they have a few months to get above a dollar to stay listed. But it seems like they don't actually even want that because they want to go private. As you can see, FaZe is considering a restructure that would take it private just 8 months after going public on the NASDAQ exchange via a special purpose acquisition company or a SPAC. So they didn't go the traditional IPO route, they went the SPAC route. Like a lot of companies, it was super popular, not so popular anymore. But this would be really bad for esports. The esports industry is one of the most notable brands in the world. Even people who don't follow esports know FaZe Clan. They know the logo, they know the team. If one of these companies, one of these orgs of this level can't make it on the stock market, tries to make it, gets beaten down, and then takes itself off, goes private again, that's a really bad look for the entire industry. Because obviously, traditional investors who might have been looking at this space saying esports is interesting, maybe it's like a traditional sport route where it's going to explode and be $1 billion industry and it's going to just be a massive thing, which I think it really can be. People spend their time playing and watching competitive games. That's just the way things are moving. And where people spend their time, that's where a lot of money is usually made. But if you're looking at this as a traditional investor who is not in esports, who is just looking at it, they see one of the biggest orgs collapsing and not being able to stand in the stock market and having to delist or take themselves private and having so many problems. It probably makes you extremely wary and not really interested in going into the space. And that hurts all the other orgs who need more money, who need to raise money to continue operating, paying salaries. And if they can't do that, then they shut down, and we see a big snowball effect of orgs that can't raise money have to shut down, and maybe, you know, this esports winter starts to get pretty bad. But for FaZe to go private, they would need about $40 million to $60 million, restructure the company and shift it back into private ownership. And right now, FaZe is struggling in such efforts. They aren't in the healthiest spot with their cash. I mean, you can see their cash, their public company. You can see here that FaZe Clan reported having only $43.9 million in cash assets, which would be enough to fund the company's operations until November 2023. So basically, FaZe Clan, by the end of the year, will be out of money and will need to raise money. Being a public company is a lot harder to raise money than being a private company because your valuation is there on the market. It's just way harder to raise money publicly than privately. And it's also crazy to look at FaZe Clan and see that they have almost $44 million in cash, and that is all going to be burned before the end of the year. So they're going to spend $44 million in what, like 8 months or so, and they're going to be out of money by then. That is crazy. It just kind of shows how much of a money pit esports is right now, where you are just burning money to try and stay afloat, especially right now with esports getting really hit hard. Every industry, but esports is one where you're seeing companies and orgs start to lay off people, start to pull out of their esports and just disband altogether. We saw it with the Guard. So it's just not a good time for esports. I mean, FaZe already, they says slash 20% of their workforce in their layoffs. They're obviously needing to try and save money, but at $44 million spend in 8 months, I mean, I don't know how, you know, you have to lay off everybody to make up that money. So it's kind of crazy. And here We also have Nade Shot. We saw his video before. We put it up in the last video. He made a lot of great points and how FaZe Clan and this thing going on with them kind of affects the entire market or the entire industry, and it really does. And Dexerto has just a quote here. It's not really fair to Nade Shot because it was a whole 15-minute video. He talked about went in depth and talked about what we thought and everything. So this one quote kind of makes him look a little bad, right? But he what he said was important, and I think he has pretty good insight on esports. And as for FaZe Clan, they responded to kind of all this drama going down, saying we know that for too long we haven't been the FaZe we need to be, but we're working hard towards fixing that. We hope to have all the OGs sit down together soon, and we don't want to do that without everyone. We'll do everything in our power to work this out and not let you down. So that, sure, is it a good response? Maybe, but every time, like, the whole drama going on is that it's the OGs, the founders, versus the corporate side, and you know that these founders, the people who built FaZe, are not in control of this account. The corporate is. So when you go down this route and go down the corporate route, this doesn't feel like authentic. It feels like a corporate response to all the drama going on to try and make things better and calm the waters. And people see that, like, real tweet or publicity stunt here. People notice that. People used to have a big attachment to FaZe because it stood for something. It was creator led, and now they went more corporate. You get detached, and they treating it like Nike, where the FaZe Clan logo isn't the Nike logo. It's just, people would buy Nikes for the logo, but would they really? People are buying Nikes because of the athletes that they signed. And the content is a different type of content, but the content they do. They have athletes playing their sports. That's their content. For FaZe, you have content creators that should be creating content and making FaZe bigger and more well known and attaching people to the brand, but you don't really have that now. And Mr. Beast let in here saying they should be the people in charge. When I visited, not a single person I met had any idea how to make a good piece of content, which, Mr. Beast, the king of YouTube, he knows how to make good content. He's pulling in billions of views. So, and then you have someone else talking like content is everything, though. And then Mr. Beast says, what is the brand without content? A logo, which absolutely, obviously, you have a brand without content. It's just simply a logo. And what people, like, we've seen FaZe go towards comparing to like the Nike logo and stuff, but even Nike, Adidas, the shoe brands have a content around them. They have athletes signed to those brands. That is their content route, really. It's not the same as a YouTuber route and YouTube content, but it's still the content route of getting the brand out there through some sort of content to connect people to that brand. And I think FaZe lost sight of that in the corporate takeover, where the founders who built this thing from the ground up, got pushed out. No one really wanted to do or hear what they had to say, and they went down a different road, and that's what's led them here. But it feels like this day was coming where FaZe was going to get delisted from the stock market because it's just so beaten down. They're under $1. They're worth like $40 million or something. It's crazy how little they are worth now. They've fallen insanely bad. But maybe they want to avoid getting delisted, buy back the shares. That might be why the price is rallying, because whatever price they have to pay for the shares might be, out there, and people are going to buy the shares now because they're going to take it private at a higher price, even if it's just marginally. Then that might be why it's rallying right now. But FaZe going private, maybe the best move that they could make right now, because getting delisted would be a major blast to the industry, and then being FaZe Clan and getting delisted is just, it doesn't look good. So hopefully they figure it out. Hopefully they get everything working on the right page and they stop going down this corporate route and start actually integrating the founders who built FaZe to what it is and start actually taking them seriously. That's gonna do it for this video. As always, don't forget to smash the like button and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in my next video.